It's like somewhere out there. Yeah. This is a nice day. So yes.
Get cold.
Yeah, I think
Like
it's
it's
cold.
supposed to be 50.
It's gonna be colder for the next week or so.
Oh, did it really?
It's nice.
Rain, so that makes all the
Hopefully,
difference.
it might be melt.
I was just gonna say,
Thank you for that. Okay, folks, should we call the meeting to order? Hey, in the back,
Who's your gavel?
let's call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Rachel, would you like to do roll call, please?
Jackson Deacon.
I'm Jackson Deacon here.
Okay, Jack Cubs,
Here.
Jana Mulder,
Here.
Scott Reeves,
Here.
Alice Knight here, and Sarah McLean here.
Perfect. Good, let's see, did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes? All good?
Yes,
Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Good, let's see, Rachel, any board communications? Okay. Moving right along, does anybody have any public comments that don't have to do with items on the agenda tonight? Good. We're gonna be done by 6:15. Great, let's see, then, why don't we move on to discussion items? I would like to move the playground discussion to number 1. That way, if anybody wants to leave, they can, or they're welcome to stay, of course. Same kind of rules as council and planning commission. 3 minutes to make a comment, and it's on the topic we're discussing, 1 time per item. You can't give your time to another person. Let's see, I'll call on people for 1 person. I think that's it. Do we have anybody on video? Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome, folks. And we'll include you too. If you have something you'd like to say, raise your hand. We won't be reading comments from video tonight. Good, and Scott's gonna keep time on the comments. And let's see, Rachel, I think you're gonna be up first to give us a rundown on the latest with the playground.
Perfect. So I think most of you are aware that, I think the last time we met, it went to a special meeting for city council. That was August 26th. That was a Friday. And then council decided to make no decision. They did not vote on anything that day. And then the city staff decided to place the project on hold and take it to the planning commission. So we held a planning commission meeting last Thursday and the playground was on it. And again, it was tabled because they wanted more information, just more in detail visuals. They had some comments, like general comments about maybe the shape, things like that, just some more details to then bring back. And that meeting will be October 20th. And then city council last night, again, didn't make a decision. They just voted to then bring it back to the parks board. So tonight we're really discussing, I have more visuals I plan on taking to the planning commission, and we can discuss landscaping, any general comments you may have about plan. Sound good? So this is what was sent over today. So this is, well, let me start with, in my email, I described that this is a tree. So he has the mulch going around the tree. We would not do that, so ignore this. And I'll change that for the planning commission meeting. He assumed for ADA compliancy that we would go right from the walkway to the playground. That's not what we would do. We would reduce the footprint and make the walkway meet the playground.
Rachel, do you want to point out where the beach is just for
Yeah, so this is like
orientation?
the curved walkway and the beach should be down here. So this is still on the west side of the flag, but it's south. It's further south, so it's not taking up as much of that open green space by that other large tree that would be north of there when you first enter the park from the parking lot, if that makes sense.
I believe it's also moved back a bit from the big tree, so there is
Yeah.
more lawn space for people that prefer to sit in the lawn.
Right, and that's why we wouldn't mulch in that area. There'd be no need to. We would just extend the sidewalk to the playground. That makes a lot more sense. And then this would be like an area view of it. So again, you can see that the mulch, you can see it, it's in the tree. That wouldn't be like that. So it would reduce the footprint. We also took away a component. The monkey bars had 2 spinners on them, and they don't, we can have them, but schools usually don't have them anymore, and childcare centers don't have them anymore for safety concerns. So we pulled those, and that reduced that fall zone because you needed fall zones for those spinners. Those were taken off as well. Do you have any questions about the location or the design?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I have one comment.
Yeah.
I think that if you go up to Kiwanis Park, the wood chips are already installed there around the playground equipment. And I think it would be helpful if the color of the wood chip area was more blending like it actually is in real life, that it would be a little better for people to understand that it's not going to be so much contrast. It very much blends in with the grass and, you know, the surface more. That would be my only comment.
I have a question about the goose poop in the wood chips.
Yeah.
How do you plan on maintaining that and cleaning it?
So it would have to be picked up. It would either be, it'd be park staff would be in charge because we wouldn't be able to use a sweeper through there, through the wood chips.
If I
So
can
that's
make,
something we would have to take into consideration. On the other side of that though is geese. I mean, they will get used to the playground being there. I'm not saying that. They will definitely walk up there. But geese really like open green space.
they eat grass, that's why
So
they're in the
so for
grass.
a while, the playground will actually deter the geese. They won't like it when we put it in, and it will take probably a few months before they come around it. But you're right, that will have to be taken into consideration, to make sure it's clean, definitely.
Sarah, any thoughts?
I'm just curious on what the edging will look like. Will that be like an elevated or is it's dropping
It'll be
right down?
flush,
but-
so we'll excavate 12 inches down. That's the fall for safety, and yep, it'll be flush with the grass. And that's another reason there's no need to put it right to the sidewalk, because then we're gonna be raking, you know, we don't want the wood chips and sand and vice versa. So it'll be look cleaner not attaching them.
Usually it's just a very small maintenance thing, correct me if I'm wrong, Lucas, but maybe once a year you take an edger and clean up the edge, tighten it up, get all the runners that have come into the mulch. So it's a nice sharp edge. It's not like messy looking. I'd like to say that I think this does address some of the concerns that we've heard over the last few weeks. I think it preserves that, at least that sense of a green space as you're driving down Bay Street. And I think it, as it pushes back from Bay Street, you get the same sense from up on Main. I'm really happy that it's more of an organic form. I think it fits much nicer in the park. And I like that it will be pulled back from the tree so that there's a nice kind of buffer of lawn for people that don't want to sit in the sand.
Yeah, and the gentleman who designed this is an NRPA this week, so I haven't contacted him since I got these visuals, but we will meet again as a Parks Board before the Planning Commission meeting. We actually meet that Tuesday and then I meet Thursday. So I can tweak or, you know, get a new visual that doesn't show, for instance, the wood chips around the tree, things like that, because that'll change the square footage.
I would like to suggest that whenever we do add that sidewalk connection, and would that be right away? We could find somebody that does concrete work that might do it. I'd like to see that it's curved and it kind of sticks with the curved sidewalks along the beach and along Bay Street.
Yeah, we did all that years ago.
So what is the square footage of this?
So this square footage is just over 3,000, which is bigger, and that's because he has it going around the tree, and that's another reason I don't want to do that.
So the anticipation is it's gonna be much smaller once.
Correct, yeah, I
Once
like
that
it to
is
come down, and
revised.
he knows that that's the goal, so that's why I'm saying.
What is your
this-
goal?
to reduce the footprint.
No, do you have a number in mind?
Oh, I think the original one was 2,700. I'd like to get it down to 25 or lower if we can.
I believe you said he tightened up like some of the fall zones where they could overlap a little bit. So these are all tweaks that, you know, we're trying to do to minimize the impact.
I think it's good to note that the car show, the art fair, all those people are all on board with this.
Mhm.
So a lot of things that are coming up in these conversations is it's gonna interfere with all that, but it's not, because all the people involved are all for this. So it's not interfering with anything going on in the parks. The
And I would-
Legion's all for it. It's not interfering with any Memorial Day issues. So,
And I'd also like to say, Sarah made a comment last night at the city council meeting that this will probably be used year round. It's not just a summer playground, you know, and kids will use this 10 months, maybe 12 to play.
I love the fact that we're supporting families in Harbor Springs and kids. We tend to be very old person heavy here, and I think it just would be so wonderful to have some things that would attract younger families as well.
it's also good to know, like Lucas, last night, you know, we get away from all the city infrastructure.
Yes.
So there's no issues if we ever have a problem with the drainage system.
Rachel, do you have the overhead view of this that you could show?
So this would be cut out.
So it'd be sort of like a kidney bean amoeba shape, which, you know, I think is much more pleasing and fits better.
Another option is this, the component, that spring that you see there, that can actually go in the sand. That is something to consider, because it's only a 4-foot drop.
Okay, that might be good.
So, and it's just a really simple spring. I mean, like, you know, you like
So like
two
rocking
on each
horse
side,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
and you bobble back and forth. But that can actually go in the sand.
And when you talked about the sand, you said it couldn't be replaced in the sand because it's not ADA compliant. But you also have said these pieces of equipment are not ADA compliant.
Correct.
So that's almost an oxymoron. You're putting non-ADA compliant things, but you can't put them back where they were because it's not ADA compliant.
Well, it's ADA accessible. There's the difference between ADA compliant, being able to use the equipment versus being ADA accessible. So if an adult or a parent was in a wheelchair, they could access the playground. Or if there were two kids and one had a disability and one did not, both could still access the playground. So it's more getting to the playground versus using the actual equipment.
Or if you get a kid with disability, you can still pick him up out of his chair, put him in a swing, put him on the rocker. Anybody that's dealt with children or young adults that have disabilities understand what this is all about, so. Yeah, it's the idea of just being able to get them there.
I did remember the color of the equipment. Rachel and I had already talked about, like, should we paint it green? And guess what? It's green.
Green tan.
So I think it does help it kind of disappear a little bit.
Any comments or?
Yeah, hi, I got a comment. This is James Kenny.
1 second, James, sorry. Let's just make sure the board's done. Then we'll open up for public comment.
Okay, sorry, getting ahead of myself.
That's okay, thanks.
Jackson, what do you think?
I think it's good. This sidewalk's not gonna move or anything, right?
Did you play on the playground when you were younger?
Yeah, I remember it being over in the corner on the sand. And the water line came up with it.
And then I have a question about the sewer system. So last night Lucas said that it couldn't be moved to the corner towards Wallstrom because of the sewer lines being there. Do you have a map of where the sewer lines are?
Yeah.
Do you want to pull up that overhead again, Rachel?
I did.
1 second, I have like an actual amount, but.
It was via text.
Oh, okay, yeah, we send it in an email real quick. All right.
I sent two.
Okay. Let's start with this one, and I guess I'll let you explain the sewer lines.
So on that map there, you can see that there are blue lines that come from Bay Street down to the lake. There's the one that comes through right there. And then there's also a second one that comes from the parking lot. That would be, we call it the depot lot, the one that's right there. Those are the two storm sewer lines that run through that side of the park. That's a 24-inch that runs from Bay Street down, and then a 12-inch that comes from the parking lot over. And then there's kind of a tannish line that runs through the park there. That would be an 8-inch sanitary sewer.
And so you were saying that it wouldn't be ideal to place it in that corner because of the sewer lines, but then didn't you also say sewer lines run under the church?
That storm sewer line does, yes.
Right, so it doesn't seem like, to me, it'd be hard to move some playground equipment versus moving a church if there's a problem.
With the church line, they actually wouldn't move the church. They'd have to pump around and then reline under the church by no digging, trenchless, here in place piping or something like that. So it's just not ideal to have things on top of infrastructure if there's an issue.
I have another comment about that idea of something over on the east side that, in my mind, is even a bigger issue than the sewer lines. Rachel, could we go to that overhead? I do feel that,
You mean this one, right?
yes, that the Veterans Memorial aspect of this park is important. And I think to the extent that we can, we should not have the playground crowding either the flagpole or crowding the cannon. And I wish this went up just a little bit higher. So we have to be, Victor, is it 20 feet in from that east property line? Is that right?
No, from the east property line, it's only 5 feet.
Okay,
But
all right.
it's 25 feet from the sidewalk along Bay Street.
Okay, gotcha. So we could move that sidewalk, but I think still the playground, if you try and mentally transpose that footprint over, even if it was, like on top of where the current sidewalk is, I feel like it's gonna be right on top of the cannon. So that would be the northeast corner. If we looked at the southeast corner, we swing it around and then it's right where all of the Memorial Day service and ceremonies are. And I think it's also just kind of bad juju to have a cannon pointing at a playground.
Well, plus the whole east side slopes several
And the
feet.
grading, yes. And there's a manhole access there, which couldn't be moved. So in my mind, I guess that, to me, is a big reason to avoid that east side, in addition to the sewer lines.
I'm good with it, so.
Did you want to say that again, Allison?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, are we ready to open it up for public comment? Okay,
Do you want to do Zoom first and go to James?
we can do James first.
Thanks. So I guess I'm still confused. And again, we've asked the question several times for drawings measurements, other locations that were considered, other configurations that were considered. And again, tonight, the same location is being proposed. You know, last night, all of a sudden, there's sewer lines there that no one had spoken of before. So it just seems like, you know, this committee is not doing its due diligence. I think there's individuals within city government that aren't doing their due diligence on this. You know, at the planning commission, every single person at that meeting spoke up against this proposed location.
No, they
So
didn't.
except for Chairwoman Mulder. And so again, I'm not sure why alternatives are not fully being explored. And this current proposal that you're looking at right now may even be worse than the original one, to tell you the truth. And it's just a shame that this committee and the city is not seriously taking the concerns of other citizens into consideration.
Well, I think what you're not understanding is this isn't for public debate. This is a in-house thing. Rachel and Lucas and other city personnel conferred with experts, did their job. We are listening to everybody bitch about it. So we're taking it all into consideration, which is why we're still here talking about it. So for you to throw out accusations, quite honestly, I sit on most of these boards and I'm over it. So you can trash me all you want, but the people have done their due diligence. Just because you weren't informed 2 years ago or whenever this project actually started, it wasn't enough for public debate. It's an in-house thing. City wanted to move the playground. It needed to move the playground. And here we are. We're listening. Rachel has gotten drawings, which you're looking at right now. We didn't have them all before.
One drawing.
She's done her job.
I'm not saying that no one's doing their job. Rachel's been very reasonable throughout this process. My concern is that this is a public area that is used by the public. And as a result, there should be public input. And so for you to say that that is not the case as a city council member is a shame.
James, sorry, that is your 3-minute limit. Do you want to just sum it up real quick?
Just that I'm still strongly against this, and it's a real shame.
I can respond to one thing. I'm a landscape architect, and I did do schematic drawings of, I think it was 5 different possible places where the playground could go, and they were discussed pros and cons. And again, you heard like the east side issues, can't go back in the sand. We're concerned about the safety of kids crossing the street, and that's, to me, that narrows it down really to one location that's suitable.
With all due respect,
Other than not putting the playground back.
with all due respect, and you know, I appreciate your experience with this. I'm a physician. I don't know the first thing about playgrounds equipment, but someone mentioned the ADA compliance issue. The equipment itself cannot be used by disabled individuals, contrary to the councilman's implications. You know, there's been no official drawings that we've seen in public. You know, I appreciate that you did look at the other areas. In fact, there's conversations that we've had as well with Rachel that in theory, it could go back into the sand. And I understand the impetus to get this back in place, but there's more than just us that do not think that this is the right thing to do.
Yep, and there's more than you that do think it is a really good thing to do. And I think we've got.
They haven't spoken up though.
This is a true fact. Do we have any other comments?
Check the real quick.
Yeah, we can go to here.
Okay, Maggie.
I was trying to do Zoom today. I couldn't get on, so I don't know what's going on. But, so I understand that was moved back to the parks and for you guys to make a decision. But this is the most valuable park that we have in our town. And yet we're not having the public have an input and you guys are making decisions. If it wasn't for Miranda identifying what you were doing 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, blocking that out on the east side, okay, we would never know about this. It was going to go forward without any input. And now we're in a situation right now, we are getting input and you guys are getting pushback, but you guys are moving this forward for whatever reason. I have no idea, but the public has been talking to you and saying, maybe this is not the best choice. I would like to see what your whole idea is of your park master plan. Because in the wintertime with the snow and the pileup of the banks and so forth, it's a small area. You can't even get to the park if you're going to go there. So why aren't you not putting it into a larger location so you can use it year round? I just don't understand why it's so determined to have it in this location. And you are getting major pushback right now with people that are actually identifying what is the movement of the public. That is the area where if you're gonna go there to the park, that's where you wanna be on that grass area. It's the prime location. And why are you taking away that prime location? It doesn't even make sense that you would do that when everybody wants to be out of the
Yeah, I
sand.
guess Maggie, you weren't here for the beginning. We did have a discussion about taking things into account on this plan, things that they tried to adjust to. And the Parks Board, we don't really have a say. We are advisory. Staff is
But
making
they
the
moved it back
decision.
to you guys and you guys are making decisions. You guys are putting this into a very narrow situation where only you guys have the decision because council doesn't want to say they push it back to you. You're gonna make a decision and that is, you're narrowing it down so much, the public has no feedback on what they actually want.
I think we've heard quite a bit at the last 3 meetings. And then as Parks Board members, we've all been down there and interviewed people and Bob Toma interviewed 40 people and every single one of them that was down
Well,
there
where's the
said,
data on that to see the 40 people that actually
like them to
who are
write a
more than
report?
individuals? Do they live in Harbor Springs? Because a lot of times your surveys don't even have folks that live in Harbor Springs.
Along with most of the surveys you guys will don't live in the city. And it doesn't matter actually, because the township people have a say in all this. It's not just a
They
city
contribute,
thing. Township people pay.
You know,
For that beach.
this is being, I'm sorry, but this is being so thrown down our throats. It's amazing you guys are going down throats. And why this is the most valuable piece of property.
It's not the most valuable piece of property.
Really?
Take
So
Marina
you go
Park,
down-
you take
go
all
down-
these other lakeshore things.
No way. If you go down in this town,
Maggie,
where the people are
do
right
you
there.
want
You know
to
what, you're
summarize?
entitled, you're your
that?
pigeon, so are we.
I believe that you guys are the way that you guys had rolled this out, you had a determination of what you're doing, you have an agenda, and that agenda is getting done in a certain amount of time without people's comments. And people have risen up and said, no, we don't want to do it. Or if people really wanted it, where are they? They're not here. The people that don't want it are
They're
saying,
home feeding their kids.
no, come on. If they were, if they
Seriously, you
really
think you're the
wanted it,
only
they
one in
would
town
be
that's got a voice?
here. It would
I've
be
listened
both-
to you for 2
It would
weeks.
be both sides. You would have both sides here. If someone really wanted it, they'd be right here.
Okay, thanks. Let's see, any other comments?
Yes,
Patrick?
indeed, thank you. So,
For 3 minutes.
first of all, I completely concur. It is the most idyllic spot in Harbor Springs. And Rachel, I don't understand where the other slides are. Victor has spoken to 2 playground experts, both of whom I have also spoken with, both of whom have said to me that they were not afforded an opportunity to look at any other spot within the park. Now, I want to quickly address each one of the concerns that you threw out there. First of all, across Soren Park, I mean, we could make a case that that's 1 lane, it's 1 way, it's got stop signs. The diligence of people that come through there on their cars, watch that area very, very carefully. If a child is old enough to play in a playground by themselves, they're old enough to cross a street by themselves. But we're not even arguing about Upper Soren Park. So we're saying to you, there are other options, and we've isolated the other options in drawings from which, Rachel, I don't know why you're not showing it. But there is the other option, the other drawing is the drawing on Zorn Park. If you could at least put up this.
I'm not showing it because you worked with Doug on that drawing. That's
You
why
told
I'm
me
not
today
showing
you
it.
were going to show it.
You have it though, in your hand.
You have
So
it as
please
well.
show it. You
Okay,
have it in
well
your
then
hand.
go to the drawing of the overall park then, if you wouldn't mind, that one right there.
Thank you.
So,
Let's show
okay,
the
Ms.
elevation
Walter,
change.
you said that you're concerned about being too close to the cannon up for the memorial. We're not talking about up near the memorial. We're talking about this area right down through here. Right down here.
That's where the father does the blessing.
So
That's
let
where
me
the
finish.
should be in place.
Well, I'm sure there's other ways that we can address that. I don't know. I haven't talked to them.
Elevation change.
I've met with the expert and the elevation change was not an issue. Could you please bring up the drawing of the sewer lines? The sewer line, this one right here, you'll notice that that is on the far west side of this sidewalk. Therefore, that sewer line would not have an implication as what is being told to you as far as an infrastructure problem. And if you think about it, it's a swing set. A swing set can literally be picked up and moved if there ever was a problem. We can put this whole park in this area right here without disrupting or having, if we wanted to put a piece of equipment on the other side, we easily could. There's no question about it. And that's not a sewer line, is it? It's a runoff line, correct? Yes, it's a runoff line. So this doesn't even, when you talk about last night that this is going to drain into my basement, it's a runoff line. It's not a sewer line. So again, there is so much misinformation that's going on in this room. It just defies me that you would throw out these ideas that you've talked to the American Legions, and yet we have no proof of that. That you've gone to the various groups and you've given their okay. They've never even seen these other options. You people there are other options that could be made. And frankly, when I see this drawing, it's worse. It's worse than I realized.
Okay, Patrick, thank you.
By the way, look at the shadow lines. I took these pictures today. This is where the shadow of people sitting are going to miss out on, because now there's going to be a playground right where they otherwise would be. And when you don't have shadow, when you don't have shade in a park, and you don't have open space in a park, you don't have a park.
Okay, that's enough.
I would like to comment as well.
Okay.
This is Maureen Kenny. We have repeatedly asked for the other options that were looked at and the costs associated with it. Somebody spoke of a landscape architect who did renderings. We have not seen anything. We do not even know what the cost of this proposed one that takes up the whole park, 3,000 square foot. We've not seen any associated costs other than $6,000 has been donated, and that's going to cover the cost. We don't know about the sidewalks. To put sidewalks in, that's very expensive. To put new landscaping in, that's very expensive. So again, we're not seeing anything. There's nothing in the budget. There's nothing in the Parks and Rec, even related to Zorn Park in your master plan. So a lot of money's going into Marina Park, and I would agree, that's brilliant. But again, how do we get this information? Patrick has gone and sought all this out on his own to try and open people's blinders. And for some gentleman there, I can't see on Zoom who you all are, but to say, I'm sick of this, I'm tired of this, we're done with this, that is offensive as a citizen, as a resident, as a taxpayer, to have one adult say that to another adult in a public forum. And I'm glad these things are being recorded so we can see how city leaders and officials are treating concerned citizens. So I would ask you all to please look at the other options and give us the information that we have been asking or that we have had to pursue on our own. I would like to see the surveys of the 40 people. I would like to see the outcome from the car, the art, the swim club, all these people you're saying you're talked to, but they're home feeding their kids tonight because they're not concerned enough to come. So I would like to see all that data before any additional decisions are made. Thank you.
Okay, is that it then? Rachel, sorry. Brenda?
We're in the Miller 6 by 1 Second Street. The square footage, first of all, I can help you with that, Rachel, because, and this is going by the information that we were given from the beginning. I heard you say it was originally 3,000, but in the stuff that we saw, it was 2,730. Then it increased to 2,770. As of today, and I got here late, so perhaps I need to be corrected. We've reduced the footprint that we've all been waiting for this number to 2,500 square feet. So that is a concession of 150 square feet.
No, so you're correct with the original footprint, but this design is actually larger, which is why I said it's not the final design.
So we've actually gone up from 25, okay, 3,000, so we've gone from 2,730 to 2,770 up to 3,000.
Because he has it going, all the way to the sidewalk. That's why, which it wouldn't.
Okay. You know, and I want to speak to Mr. Cups, who doesn't seem to have the stamina anymore. He can't handle it being on these boards. Continue pushing things like this in this town on people who have been here for generations, my family since 1950. We're not going anywhere, John. Okay, the taxpayer, we're not going anywhere.
Don't.
So, first of all, I also want to speak to this. As far as it being in-house, this seems to be boiling down to a decision to two people, professional and staff, who seem to be Victor and you, Rachel, who are employees, if I'm getting this correct. You are our employee. We are the taxpayers. You work for us. And we're being told that we don't have a decision in taking away a park that has been, we've raised our kids there without a playground. We have done, I mean, put a small swing set in, and Dana, I'm sorry, but Father, he's not in favor of this playground. Father is not nailed to the ground. He can move around and say his blessing anywhere, but he does say it by the flagpole. He doesn't say it in the corner where Mr. Kenny was staying. That is traditionally where this has been. But I find, you know, Rachel, with all due respect, you've been here 1 year. If this isn't an example of this indelible urban handprint that you have prepared for us as director of the RRC and Parks and Recreation, and Victor as city manager, and then you tell us that this is in-house and it comes down to just you two and now Lucas. So we have nothing to say anymore. As you came into a beautiful city that generationally, we, the taxpayers, generations of family have built. You came into a lovely, intact community. Why are you trying so hard to make this such, nobody wants it. I had a meeting at the senior center today, and I'll wrap it up. My seniors that came here last night and spoke, I was very proud of them for the courage that they had to do that. They are livid. They said that park, the metal playground equipment gets the shade. They don't. They said, we can't go there anymore. And many of them are on walkers and things like that. They can't sit in the shade and they can't go. Why? Why are you doing this? I just don't understand. I'm sorry. We are a community who is mad. And I don't know about the 40 who might be interviewed, but you cannot deny that as a community, the majority of us are fuming.
Okay, let's wrap it up then. And I don't know, I guess, I think of it from your point of view, and I think it's a tough issue. I have been back and forth so many times on this. I value the park too. I value the green space down by the waterfront. I value flexible space where people can play Frisbee. I also value families and for kids to be able to play on a playground. Sarah's spoken
Can I ask
about.
you a question?
Can I finish, please? Sarah has spoken about liking to come down there with her family and making a whole evening of it, going swimming and, playing the playground and going out to dinner. And she's not the only one, and they have a voice in this city too.
What's wrong?
No.
We won't entertain anymore.
No.
Can I please ask a question, please?
Sure.
Okay, I don't disagree with one word you said. I don't think anyone disagrees with one word you said. Why will you not allow a study on that side of the park. Why will you not allow it? Why would you just comment about various factors without doing a study? You're a landscape professional. You should have, that should be right in your wheelhouse to have a study done.
Okay, I'm gonna make one answer and then we're not gonna have a rebuttal or a debate here. I did do sketches with the same footprint over there and I don't find it
Let's
to
see
be
them.
suitable.
Let's see them. Why can't the public view
All
them?
right, we're done with the debate.
Okay, Mr. Cubs.
No, we're done with the debate.
Patrick, I
It's a
will,
conversation.
No,
that
it's not. We're done. You've done this at all the other meetings. We're done.
We're trying. Exactly.
Patrick.
The representation on this city council is apprehensible.
Well, you got your opinion, so do I. We're
okay,
done with the
stop,
debate.
Stop. That's enough. Patrick, I will send you the sketches that I did.
How about if you allow me to prepare sketches on my dime with a professional that you could see? Can we agree with that?
No, I think, first of all, it's not the Parks Board decision, it's Rachel's decision and Lucas's decision. And that's what council decided last night. So I would do that out of a courtesy, just because I want you to feel better that we haven't just blown this off. We've taken it very seriously and we value the park and yeah. Okay.
Can I just have a question, an informational question that I'm curious about? So it came here tonight, that's obviously again, and the park from the city council meeting is now increased to 3,000. What, is this not, pardon me, is this not going to the planning commission?
I believe it is,
It is.
Rachel.
It'll go back to the planning.
It will go back to the planning, so,
We were here to review the preliminary drawings that planning commission asked for, that Rachel's getting together. We reviewed them. They still need to be tweaked because the gentleman doing the drawings isn't available to finish them up at the moment.
And he's not a landscape architect, by the way.
And you're a professional?
He's not a landscape
No, but
architect.
they have a landscape architect draw them out.
Right, but you're saying that the fellow that's out of town, who you're waiting on these drawings, is not a landscape architect. So
I'm
all
relying on the
saying,
professionals here.
he's not even here, first of all,
Yeah.
that we're talking about. All I'm saying is allow us to present an alternative. Why is that such a problem?
That's not up for us to
We
decide.
gotta stop now.
It's an agenda. Redevelopment Right program. This is an agenda.
And you all need to get the
And-
hell
and-
over that.
No, and Parks and Recreation, you guys have destroyed this town. You think this, you're doing it.
Right.
What positive thing have you done?
There's the
Parks and
door.
Recreation. I haven't seen anything. I will leave, but I'm telling you,
And
I
I'm
have
happy
not
to
seen
speak
anything
to
positive
the
out of
positive
this
things
committee.
that have occurred with the Parks and Rec Department. I have a young family. I've been in this area for about 11 years, but 2 years just here in the city itself. And to be able to see community events that are happening, this town, as if you look at the city itself, there aren't a lot of young families. There aren't a lot of young children, and we need families and children to continue to love this space and to grow with this space. And I'm hopeful that we will continue to have events because I think that that's what brings a community together. So we can have healthier conversations and decide how we can move forward with
So
all
the farmer's
generations.
market came to me and asked me if they could use my driveway for the farmer's market Oktoberfest. So they could pull the horses in to my driveway. I gladly said, of course,
Okay, let's wrap it up.
but this is not the same issue.
Patrick,
taking
I
away from the
was
park.
reflecting on
Patrick.
what has the community, what has Parks and Rec done for the community, and I have seen positive things for me and my family.
I'm sure they have,
compared to
and
that. So I wasn't referring to what was happening with this particular issue. I was just reflecting. on
Patrick,
a
we are
comment that
not
was
going to
made.
debate this anymore.
well, I understand, and
I'm gonna
I'm
have to ask
flabbergasted
you to
you won't
leave.
allow me to do some work on this on my own time. That just doesn't make any
It's
sense
not,
to me.
it's not up to me, and we've had
Please
enough
no.
discussion.
Chairwoman Mulder, you have an opportunity here to lead. You do. Your voice matters, just like our voice matters. I would argue
I don't have an opportunity to lead. This is a staff decision.
you just muted me. That's so rude. So rude.
She didn't touch it.
Is over. Public comment has been over.
Rachel,
No.
you've said several times that you just want the playground in. We agree. This is a great opportunity to replace the playground. This is not the location. That needs to be taken seriously.
James, that's in your opinion, and we are done talking.
We're moving on to
Thank
the
you.
next item.
Yep.
Which is Fall Fest.
So you have an update for us?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about where we are with that. I think we need to have one more meeting before it happens. I think Rachel's got everything ordered. We've got donations coming in from IGA. And let's see, we've got, I think, all of the signs and stuff made.
Yeah, so
Rachel's-
the
yeah.
banners made, all the yard signs are made. And then the straw bales are ordered and DPW will pick them up 2 days before the event, pending weather. Matt
Press
Henderson.
releases.
Yep,
written.
those were all in, and then the corn stalks were ordered. I just counted the light posts. I think we put 4 around the light
We
posts
did.
last year, something like that. So those are ordered.
Social media posts are out.
Yep. And then, Bill's Farm Market, I called them and they are gonna charge us $1.25 a pumpkin. And I'm gonna get the smaller ones, the pie pumpkins. And then I'll get like the little baby ones, because I think we use those to hold down the stuff on the
corners of the
tables,
table.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And some bigger ones for like the photo opportunity with the.
so we'll grab some of those, and then who wants to stop at Johan's for donuts to ask if they're willing to donate? Does anyone know? The manager will, or, okay, and then Harbor Market, I spoke to Scott, he's willing to donate the apples again. So that's great, and then Cup said he'll have a fire truck there. So really, it's just next week is gonna be picking up everything and then stopping at Gordon's and Hobby Lobby, for, like last minute items.
Okay.
So you say that the antique tractor is coming,
Mhm.
same as last year. But the people that own the tractor have a wedding on Saturday night, so out of town, so they're gonna leave the tractor there overnight. I talked to Kyle. Kyle's gonna make sure that the police keep an eye on the tractor
Mhm.
overnight. And the other thing is, as you know, we're gonna have this year for the photo opportunity because it was so successful. The Easter Bunny was so successful at the Easter egg hunt. Now we're going to have a Scarecrow in costume. And it's the 75th anniversary costume of the Wizard of Oz. And we have that already, and the Scarecrow is trying it on at this very moment. So he'll be there, and it's the same fella, he did a great job. I would say almost every family took pictures with the Easter Bunny, and I think you'll also take pictures with the Scarecrow.
Do you think he maybe should hand out treats or something?
Well, I
I think you guys got enough going on.
I don't, yeah.
honestly.
A lot of the times he has to kneel down, to be small enough for the little kids, and he does it in a really good way where kids were not crying or afraid, and
Not
you gotta be, not creepy and everything. So, and he loves to dress up.
So I would say a big thing we have to work on before the event would be volunteers. I
Yes.
sent an email out to everyone who was in charge of a board who had staff within the city to see who'd be willing, in Jackson, that might be a good thing for you with the high school students, if you have any friends or if you're on a team or an
Yeah, I
organization.
could ask around.
Perfect, it's a pretty short day, and it's
Can you be
flexible
there?
volunteer hours.
Yeah, I can tell you that the Taste of Harbor, the volunteers, both the National Honor Society and there was the culinary school too, from Petoskey. I mean, they did a great job and the cleanup was spectacular. I sent Bonnie a thank you because, I go down there most mornings and clean up and it was perfect. So if we can get those National Honor Society kids again,
It's really
it
a
would be
pretty fun
wonderful.
event, yeah. Let's see, Rachel and I have been talking about with the flyer, do we want to put them in store and restaurant windows?
I have it.
Yeah, I
right here.
printed them for
Oh,
Scott.
I'm ready to go. I
Good,
just
good.
got 'em.
So I think,
Did you put that online?
yeah, on Facebook, yeah, I
Yeah.
posted, yep. Yep, and I'll continue to post as well, and like the article go in the Harbor Light this week, the press release, but the flyer ad will go in 2 weeks, and then I sent it to Allison to send it
And
to
I
school.
sent it to the schools for the weekly
Perfect.
newsletters.
So we should be in the Harbor Light this week and next week, correct?
Yep.
And do we have both sides of the
Banner, we do.
banner? We do, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Fought hard for that. Heard who's in charge is vicious.
Okay, good.
Alright.
Let us know if you need anything else during the week, and then maybe let us know how you're doing on volunteers. And Jackson, if you want to let Rachel know, so we know.
Yeah,
We need to
Justin.
like twist our friends' arms. Okay. Let's see, let's move on to.
All right, I have a comment actually about this.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, the comment earlier about the good that this committee is doing. This is a perfect example of that. It's obvious that you all are doing great work. However, it seems like more attention has been paid to the fall festival than to the playground equipment. And it seems like you just said there's going to be 2 articles in the Harbor Light, multiple Facebook postings. Again, none of that was done with the playground equipment. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Rachel needs to get the capital improvement project update in by the end of September, is that right? Yep. So did people get a chance to look at the list?
Everybody?
Who's that? I think we'd be looking to see what we want to move around, add, delete, change dates. I had a few things unless somebody else would like to go first. Pardon?
I can get through it all.
And you could always email me your comments as well if you take it
Yep.
home and.
So skate park, we leave in, we just changed the date on that to 23, right? Okay, and let's see. We've got the bike path. Do we leave that for 23? You think we can do that next year? Or does that move?
I'll give you an update on that one.
Yeah.
So we sent a permit into MDOT to see if we can use that tunnel. I doubt that that'll be constructed in 2023 because even if MDOT does approve it, Harbor Inc. still has to raise the money for it. So
Okay.
I would push that off to at least 2024 at least 2024.
Okay. The next item, Rachel, that's the Kiwanis Tow Road Magic Carpet for sledding. I think that also ties in with the ice rink at Kiwanis and the parking.
Agreed.
And so that maybe we just group all those together. I think with the master plan done, that we now have the ability to apply for the big legacy grant. So it's just a question of what year do we want to put that in? Do we want to, I think we should definitely start working on it later this year. Will we be ready?
I'll give that some thought.
Yeah.
What timeline would be, but I agree,
Timing
loop
on
them
that,
into
yeah.
the same year.
24, 25 is a good
Yeah,
idea.
more realistic, maybe. Yep. What are you thinking about the parks vehicle?
Rob actually, who just left, needs a parks, the maintenance, would need a parks vehicle for I would. So I can speak to Lucas about that, because he's pretty much in charge of equipment.
Is there sometimes an extra truck
I was gonna
just
say
sitting
is,
out here?
are we looking to replace,
It's
I have to
true.
look at the big plan, but are we looking to replace a city truck? And the
So
next-
the parks truck that we have now was an old DPW truck.
It was the old electric truck,
Yeah.
which is too small. That's, I'm wondering if we were looking to replace one of the
Mine's a
pickups.
meter, right?
Yours was a
Truck.
rear truck.
And it's okay because I still have Rob's truck if I need something bigger, but Rob's truck is the one that's in bad shape.
Oh, gotcha.
So we'd be replacing his and then I just use his when I need it.
This truck was a really old city truck.
Yeah, I'm happy with, I mean. my
So a
first
little one
truck.
works,
It's easy to park, so I don't want to get rid of it.
but it's the summer months when we need the bigger.
For the trash and all
For the
that
trash and stuff, and I just sub out, but it's easier to get a lot around in my little truck.
Do we need the big one though for summer when Rob's here?
Yeah,
So that would be a 2023.
yeah, I'll speak to Lucas, because he might have a plan already.
Well,
for
I'm just
the-
wondering if that's something that goes through us or through DPW,
So,
I guess, you know what I'm saying?
the truck, the equipment, all the equipment, so when we purchase equipment, whether it's from police, DPW, electric, it all goes to the equipment fund, so really DPW takes a look at it, and it goes to
Right,
council
okay.
approval, but yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I don't know a thing about windows for the Ford Park building.
They're in dire need of
Those need to
replacement.
be replaced.
You want to leave that for
I
23?
would like to leave that.
Okay. Boardwalk replacement, that's a big question mark, right?
Yeah.
Should we leave it for 24 and
I would leave it for
Hope something
24.
good happens,
We're
yeah.
gonna push.
Push to 24?
I think on this it's for 24,
It
given
is.
what we're
Mhm.
dealing with at the moment.
All right, Marina Park. The city's capital improvement plan says 200,000, ours is 50 to 300. In my opinion, I think it looks really nice how it is, and I think we should hit all the other parks and sort of our motto of let's bring what we have up to the very best we can before we start adding a bunch of new amenities.
I was
So I
good
don't
with
know how
that.
people feel about that.
Well, I think Marina Park should be on hold until we know what,
I think Marina Park serves its purpose for what the plan was.
Yeah.
right, but what is the harbor master?
Yeah,
That's
so
plan.
two different things, so that's
There
a
are two
different.
different things. So right now, the harbor master, the harbor commission is looking at keeping the existing building and just
Adding on.
expanding it a little bit.
Yep.
So it wouldn't, there only might be some slight landscaping things like where we.
And I
have
think
bike
that's
rack
east,
and
if they're going with the plan they were looking at, that's east, mostly east.
Yeah.
So
there
it wouldn't
be
affect
any-
the park.
It wouldn't affect the use of the park. It just
Correct.
might be relocation of like, bike rack or,
Okay.
yeah, so.
I just hadn't heard where that was at.
It's on the west side. The addition to make the new bathrooms is on the west side. of
East.
the-
Right.
Well,
The
right,
additions
the
is on
west and east.
side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the bathrooms on the north side will be.
Will become the laundry.
Yeah, enclosing.
And
So
that-
Rachel, we'll just move all the Kiwanis stuff to be together, right?
Correct.
Ford Park parking, I don't know a whole lot about that either.
Yeah, that's
Is
gonna
that-
be. That's a collab. Yeah, that's not just gonna be parks.
Is that,
Waterfront parks.
Mhm.
The reason is that.
is that a resurfacing?
No, it's to deal with circulation and parking issues. Redesigning the whole circulation pattern, and a lot of user vehicle conflicts there.
Victor, do you feel
But I
that for
guess
sure
smaller.
needs to be under parks, or is that, could that just be under
Well,
waterfront?
it's, the reason it's under parks, I guess, I mean, funding wise, it's probably gonna be mostly waterfront and some general fund, but it is part of a park, so that's why it's in the
Okay.
parks' hands in a way. It's gonna be split though between Parks and Harbor Commission, obviously.
Okay, then we've got City Amphitheater here, and I was talking to Rachel about this, like, in all of our surveys, that is probably the least popular thing that people are interested in. So I was gonna propose taking that off, but then, do you wanna talk about that donor that we've got?
Well, we have a gentleman in town who would like to discuss an amphitheater, not a large amphitheater, not anything like what Charlevoix has,
Not downtown.
and it's not downtown. It would be a natural amphitheater, and basically you just take the grass space that's already kind of a hill and you cut into it and you just level it for very small, like acoustic concerts. So I'd like to leave it in and just know that we're not looking at anything on a grand scale by any means. I think amphitheater can raise eyebrows, and that's not what we're looking at.
And it's further down the road. Do you want to leave it at 26? Yeah. And 50,000, if he's donating it, it might be a lot
I think he
less.
would want to fundraise
Yeah.
for it possibly.
Would we
but-
take the money off it and just not even have it on here? Or
No, we'll
There'll
leave
be
it
some
on, 'cause
expenses.
donations is still under it.
Yeah, in our CIP, when we have to identify how much the project is gonna cost, and then we identify the source. So if the source is donations, we put donations. If it's general fund, we put general fund.
Okay. Rachel, have we had a playground inspection recently at Cosequat?
I know DPW goes down there and checks on it. And I know they've been there twice this summer because the spring broke and we always have some on hand. I know he's been there. But that needs to stay on the CIP list.
I know, I'm just
Yeah.
asking if it's urgent, like, do we need to move that up? Right now it's at 26.
Gonna keep it at 26 for now.
I do have a question about that, please. This is Maureen Kenny. You have $150,000 in your plan allocated for that playground area. I've been doing some research online. Again, I'm in healthcare, as you know. That is consistent with what a new playground would go for. So my question is, because we're all focused on this ADA, please lift our heads and listen. I would appreciate the respect. I would like that playground to have equipment for these children that is ADA compliant. It's one thing to get them to the swing set. It's the other thing to allow them to play. So we have $150,000 budgeted for that. I would ask and plead that that is a consideration for that playground because it's gonna be all brand new.
Rest assured.
Thank you.
Great idea.
Okay, so we'll just leave that as is. Observation deck at Tourist Park. I think that'd be pretty cool, but it's down the road, 27 right now.
Yeah, we can keep that.
Yeah, and 60,000 based on the quote we got for viewing platform on the boardwalk is not even close. So we may have to bump that up. Do you want to do it now or just leave it at that for now?
Leave it for now.
Yeah.
Do we have designs for that?
No,
Is there anything?
that was just as an idea.
Then we have Dog Park, and Rachel shared with us the good news about Little Traverse Land Conservancy, possibly opening one at Viewlands. And I think they'd be looking for some type of partnership with townships and municipalities, yeah. So that may be sooner than 27. And then are you imagining that 65,000 might be what they would want us to donate or?
No.
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 Do you want
It
to
would-
reduce that?
I'm not sure what, kind of waiting to hear back what other municipalities pitch in, how they feel about it. But it would likely be like a percentage a year, maybe, if that's what they're thinking of, or like volunteers, even if, you know, for maintenance in the
So like
park. I just think it really came down to people wanted a dog park, but no one could decide where to put one.
Mhm.
So the Viewland seems like a good
I
in
think that's such a
between
great
everything,
idea,
you
yeah.
know, like, so.
I would
you wanna-
suggest that if we are gonna consider, if council's gonna consider doing some kind of cost sharing to have a dog park or help maintain that dog park at Viewlands, that probably we don't need a dog park in town and we can remove that from the CIP.
I
Because
agree.
the
That's a
CIP
good
is meant-
point, yeah.
Is meant for city-owned land and infrastructure.
I think that this is the path we should take, is partnering with the Viewlands and taking it off our CIP to not have a dog park in the city.
What do you guys feel about that? Agree?
Okay,
That's good.
perfect.
Okay.
Less liability.
All right, that's what was on for this year. Does anybody have anything they would like to add for next year?
What about, for lack of better words, Indian town,
Basketball courts.
the
We've talked
basketball
about
courts?
that. And the other thing, sorry, I'm
Because of the
tagging on
development
before I
that's going
forget.
on down there, are we gonna just put that on hold until after their development is complete?
Possibly, to see
So we're not-
what the best course of action would be. And just so I say it before I forget, it's the skate park needs new windows, so I'm probably gonna add that in as well.
Mhm.
Or for those that
Yeah, we
don't
don't
know,
really-
there's a big development going in on the tribal property on Second Street, next to Jeff James's house.
40 units or something.
So
Probably not gonna be that.
It's not
big,
gonna be
but-
that
but-
big.
Well, it's kind of an eyesore down there. Do we want it in the meantime, like put some money in to get it cleaned up or take out the old basketball courts or
Yeah, I'm
something?
not sure how much been asked of us, but it's not. I mean, unless prices have gone up, but that meet CIP prices?
Yeah, CIP is usually $10,000
Oh,
$10,000
okay.
or more.
Let's say that's about. It's close.
well,
I think if there's.
it's not a
no
full-size court, so
construction,
you'll be under
Yeah.
$10,000.
construction's done.
And by the way, John, that's my house too, so. Just let you know, I'm more aware of it.
I honestly didn't look up and see you still sitting there. I thought you left. Sorry.
So, yeah, we can wait. I mean, I don't think it's needed to add it yet. I think we can look next year and if we want to add it, once we know more about that development.
Just a thought though, that maybe it doesn't need to be on CIP, but take the old one out and just
Yeah.
get it looking a little better
Resurface.
over there.
Well, yeah, because I'm just wondering with the construction, if people use it for parking, I mean, I'd hate for us to put money into it and then
Good point.
construction.
For staging.
I mean,
Wait
what's,
till the construction.
I haven't been down there. What's the condition right now? Is it usable?
It's not usable.
It's
I mean, there are hoops.
The old
Is it a
hoops are up, but there's no nets, I
Is
don't
there a
think.
safety concern with it
Someone
right now?
could get possibly trip on it. It's never, I mean, I shouldn't say it's never used,
Yeah.
but, Brenda, do you see people use it? You live Okay, I was gonna say,
I've
it's
never-
not
Sometimes
heavily
the
used.
neighbors, it's,
Most people don't even know it's there. I mean, you wouldn't know it was there unless you
Ever go
knew.
there?
We went there in the spring a few times, but it's just not in good condition.
the tribe, some of the families who still live there on the reservation and the tribe, they have a big event that they have once a year. I can't remember if it's in the spring or the fall, either way, but they do take that over for a full, actually, it's 2 days now when I think about it, because I think they spend the night, put tents up and all that. And they use it there and the kids will play there, but that's about the extent of it.
I think if we made it nicer, it would be used, for sure. It's just not something, like,
I mean,
to
is it
answer your
nice enough to
question,
get
if you
nets?
went to it, you wouldn't wanna play basketball.
I think just wait till the construction's over.
Yeah.
Or at least get a site plan
Yeah.
to make sure it's not gonna intrude on anything we can look at.
There's a
What we wanna
lot
do with it.
going on. There's easement issues and all that that might cut in there. I would wait. I think you might be putting, I would wait and see, because they're gonna have to put an easement in there, because there's property that's being sold, and I would just wait and see. They may have to change it, may cut in across from there.
I'll wait and see a site plan.
And then you think the windows will be a big enough amount of money to put on the
Yes.
CIP? Okay. Any other thoughts? Anything else that we'd like to do?
And again, I don't have to turn this in for another week, so if you think of something, just
Do we
email
wanna,
me.
the little improvements we need to do at Kiwanis for this winter, as far as running that water line, do we wanna put that on there or just
It
No,
might be
I think
more
we
of a
can get through
project
another
than a
year,
project.
one is how we,
how we did it?
yeah, I think those went over really well as
Did we
it.
install a utility sink?
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
that's what we were talking about. Do you think that would be?
I can do it, yeah. We just need to get with Lucas and get into that room and we'll get the lines ran. So
But I'm saying, do you think it would fit CIP or do you think it
No,
would
we
be?
can
Okay,
get-
oh, okay, that was my question.
Okay, is
time
that what
donated
you
in a
need
few
then,
parts.
Rachel?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
all I need.
Good,
Probably got
and let's see. The Parks and Rec Master Plan, where do we stand on that right now?
So it's out for 30-day review. I haven't had any comments, knock on wood.
We have a couple more weeks to go, is it?
Yeah, a couple more weeks to go. And then Victor, you might need to correct me, but then it'll go to council for a public hearing. And then they will vote to adopt it and then it'll go right to DNR. I'll have to put another notice in the paper for the public hearing because I have to have an affidavit for DNR and all that.
Okay.
And then
So it'll
we'll
be
good.
November or something like
Yeah,
that. for you
but
to send out.
tonight what I'm looking for is a Parks Board approval, like a resolution to approve and move forward.
I'll make a motion to approve it as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, should we have a roll call vote?
Yeah. John Cox,
Yes.
Jenna Mulder,
Yes.
Scott Reese,
Yes.
Alice Smith,
Yes.
and Sarah.
Yes. Great.
I'd like to
Let's-
comment on that.
I
Yeah.
think, go ahead.
Okay, looks like there's a survey that was done as part of the master plan, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, how many of those individuals were interested in having a playground?
I can't tell you off the top of my head. I don't have the survey in front of me.
Quite a few, and actually, I did sort of a summary of what the survey said, and more things for families and kids.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now and I only see one comment out of 30 about a playground.
There's two surveys in the back there, James, if you want to, when you get a minute, look at the two surveys. One was, we had a lot of respondents for, right? The city survey that Victor did,
Back in 2020 or
2020, and then,
Right, I had a chance to review that as well. I believe there was 115 comments associated with that. And there were 3 comments related to placing a playground. And so I just want to illustrate that this is not on people's radar.
So to clarify, the question that was out there was about whether they want new playgrounds. It wasn't about whether.
I'm referring to the comment section.
Yep.
And again, it speaks to what you all are saying of taking the time. And if individuals were truly in favor of placing a playground, that was a perfect opportunity to do so. And only a handful of folks did.
Yes, and I'm saying that the playground, when those surveys were initiated, the playground was there or just had been removed from that park, which it had been there. So this survey wasn't about about existing playgrounds. Those comments weren't about what to do with existing playgrounds.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. However, this one for the Parks and Recreation Committee was just completed recently. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Within the past month?
The past 6 months.
Past 6 months. Okay, so the playground was out at that time. And it looks like the overwhelming majority of individuals want a dog park placed. And yet that's being tabled till later on.
The dog park is Zoning Park.
That works.
Yeah, well, that's what you wish for. Now, we have this great opportunity with the Conservancy at the Viewlands, and I just, it's a wonderful thing. So let's get back to the,
But again, I think that just speaks to, I'm curious if, I know Councilman Cups voted indicating that he had a chance to review this. Is that true that you had a chance to review this master plan and the survey results?
I didn't look at the survey results.
You did not look at the survey results. Okay.
I don't want, yeah. Okay, let's wrap this conversation up. And Rachel, would you like to update us on what's going on?
Park Director report, yeah. So we just went over the timeline for the master plan, but it goes through that again. And when it is adopted by council, we'll send it to the Emmett County Planning Commission. We'll also send it to their Parks and Recreation Director as well. And if you haven't looked at it, they just finished theirs, and that's really nice. So I definitely recommend that.
Okay.
Capital improvements, we already went through that. Park updates, lifeguards are done for the season. We have one staying on, this is with restrooms. But if you hear any comments, like that's me now, and it's a lot. So I try and get down there every day to clean them, and then on the weekends, we're doing the best I can. Rob, who was here earlier, Parsons, has agreed to stay on a couple of days a week to assist. We ordered 4 lifeguard rings. We had a citizen reach out, that was concerned when we don't have lifeguards there or they're done for the season, that there were no life-saving rings. So we ordered 4. So there's gonna be 1 at Zoll Street. We're not gonna put up this year, we'll put them up in the spring. But there'll be 1 at Zoll Street, 2 at the beach, like either 1 on each lifeguard station or 1 on each side of the building, because I haven't quite decided how the lifeguard stations, and then 1 on the raft. So those have been ordered.
Good idea.
And then, yeah, on Fall Fest, working on Fall Fest.
The raft usually comes out here pretty soon.
Yep,
So I
And
know
then-
the raft doesn't stand too long after Labor Day.
yep. And then for the next meeting in October, like I said, that's right before the planning commission meeting. So I will have another phone call with Doug, go over this design and tweaks that we can make, like I said, to make the square footage smaller and not go larger. And
And
then we'll review that at our next meeting before I take it to the planning commission, just to make sure we're all on the same
And
page.
then in doing so, can we list the pros and cons
Yes.
of
I have it
everything
all.
that's been going on?
I have it all
So we
typed
kind of
out.
put
I
that out
guess
there.
my question also is, do we want to look at a visual with that spring in the sand? Because that would reduce a fall zone. Is that maybe like, because we're not getting rid of a piece of equipment, but we're just, because that one can be installed in the sand. And then we're missing that 7 foot on each side. So we can look at that as well.
Not that I'm in favor of moving this, but in their defense, I guess, that easterly side, let's
Yeah, and
show that. But
yeah,
given, I don't see how we could put a playground on there with
I
the
just
drop
didn't show
off.
them. I had them, but I knew he had them.
And that's fine.
So, and he asked for them.
But
to be
let's-
done, so,
So we can put some of this argument to bed,
yeah.
come up with an option A, B, but at least pros and cons
Mhm.
to try to eliminate all this stuff that's going on.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm wondering if it's possible to put together, I know Richard did a presentation at one point with the misconceptions or information that was coming out about Headley and what it was, and it can be confusing. So if there's a way that the parks can put out,
Maybe like a Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay.
just that is a good go-to that people can refer to.
And Bonnie,
And there's been, a lot of different perspectives brought up, and so.
I'll go and speak to all the event coordinators as well. Again, I'll get their comments written or anything I can do to make them.
something on a
public.
letterhead just saying.
Yeah, that they
I mean, we know, we've all talked to them. I mean.
Yeah,
several
but
times. So let's just-
hearsay, you know, so we'll
Yep.
get actual written.
And just one other thought too is, I hear what they're saying, like, people that want playgrounds aren't coming to the meetings, and it does make it tough. I wonder if we send a note to the PTA at each of the schools.
Sure.
And
And
I don't know, would you want to do that?
I'm happy to do that.
And ask them, if people have opinions about it, would they please send a note to Rachel?
well, that's why I was hesitant
But
to
inform
bring.
them that it's 3,000 square feet, because they may enjoy the
All right,
park.
Miranda,
the way it
it's
is.
actually not, so please stop saying
It
that.
won't
It's
be.
smaller.
Is what we're saying. This design is, but it
This
won't be.
design is wrong, so that,
So
that,
hopefully,
it's not
But
correct.
explain people, it's not the small concept going back in.
With the facts, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
the
facts,
presentation that
yeah.
she's
And
bringing
When
up.
they see the size, they may say, no, we like a small playground, we would like our park too.
And that's why maybe moving the spring would be. Cause that's a pretty big, if you see it, hold on one second.
Is it like the one up at Cold Clap? The spring loaded?
Yeah, but it's much newer.
that's-
But yeah, hold on one second. It is, let's see here.
Well, you're trying to find that, is it fair to say that everyone is on board with replacing the playground? I think we can all agree on that. I think the issue is this location. And the other locations would create a win-win.
James, with all due respect, public comments over, I'm sorry. But you gotta let us figure this out. But we're hearing you and we're talking about nobody at this table wants it to be 3,000 square feet. I promise. Nobody wants that.
Your comments are heard, and we're gonna see what we can do to figure some things out.
Thank you, appreciate it.
In a perfect world, he would not have been an NRPA, and the landscape architect would not have been an NRPA. I couldn't get a hold of him to get this. I think moving the spring, because this is the spring, that'll reduce a lot. Because like I said, that's just have the fall zone on all.
We have a-
of it.
we have a
With your
few
finger,
weeks.
would you like to point like where the mulch will be after we take out the path to the
Yeah, I mean, I
sidewalk?
can't, I mean, this isn't like.
And after we take
But
out
if
the
you use
bouncy
trees,
things?
So we would go around, and then if you put this in the sand, it would go substantially around. So, and then you would just have this left, basically, and you would have 7, you know.
So there's still be a lot of room from the
Correct.
shadow area tree
And he
down,
might even be able to, once it's that size,
manipulate.
shift it a little bit in
Well,
a
I
way
think
we
it
want
would-
it.
that gives a lot more room.
And I've been meeting with him via Zoom, so I can watch him shift it as he does it. So like when we met the first time, we talked about moving it to the south. That was by Zoom, so I could watch him do it, and I said.
So it's not like we
no to some
haven't heard
things, yes to
complaints,
others.
it's just a matter of shifting some of the stuff around and, you know,
But we'll
once
have
we
a
get a
whole
plan.
other parks meeting before it even goes back to. the
Yeah, and I
planning
think we
commission.
do have to find some way to tap the rest of the community, you know, to get some representation for the people that aren't at these meetings that do.
Well, if you
want
can
to
share,
playground.
I think what would help is when you get some of these concepts, share them with us, and then we can like reply back as quickly as possible with some
Yeah,
feedback and try to
I'm gonna
expedite this
try,
a little bit.
he gets back next week, so I'll be able to meet with him.
So we got a few
I mean,
weeks
yeah,
to-
we have a month before ask questions,
Right.
so we have plenty of time.
But the sooner we can actually come up with the proper concept, the sooner we can.
So I just
Put
wonder
this
if
out.
we want to have a special meeting before planning commission.
But we
We
have
have a
one,
meeting.
we'll have one,
We'll
it'll be
have
the
Before
Tuesday.
planning commission?
Yeah, so we'll meet Tuesday, planning commission will be Thursday.
Oh,
We'll meet the 18th and that's the 20th. So that's what I'm saying. We'll still have another whole meeting.
That's the way the weeks go.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, this month.
okay, good.
So,
But I think if we can amongst ourselves, do a little back and forth via email with some things, it'll just expedite things going into the meeting. So,
the size, I mean, the size, we're definitely willing to like work with. I mean, this is just what he sent me. And like I said, then he was gone. So he knows that I want the size.
well, the next step was to get some visual pictures. We got them,
Right,
and they look great. So now it's just a matter of tweaking.
right. I like that
Thanks.
it's our equipment. He can put it in there too, so.
That was
Absolutely.
really cool, yeah.
So this is better than where,
Charge an hour.
He's
What's
a
that?
consultant, so we're not getting billed. He's been very generous with us.
He works
working
for
with us.
landscape structures, which
Yeah.
is where we bought the equipment from.
And we ordered the wood chips through them, so. Yeah, he's a really great gentleman.
And this isn't no cost to us. They're donating their time, so.
So he's a consultant, he has a landscape architect or.
No, but the landscape architect actually does the actual drawings.
And how much is that costing?
It's not,
No. We don't pay for those as well.
it's not yet.
If it was a new playground, we would be, or if we hadn't ordered anything from them, we probably would be, but not in this situation.
So how much of the $6,000 donation has already been spent?
Nothing. I don't want to spend it until the playground is in.
The only additional cost then would be the sidewalk to connect to the existing sidewalks.
Yeah.
And that won't be that
We have
much.
to make
It's
sure
not
the
that big.
donation basically is going towards the playground. So the wood chips have been ordered, but I haven't designated where the check goes, just because the playground
How
is.
much were the wood chips?
Off the top of my head, well, we got them for Kiwanis too. I want to say they were about 5,000. That was the bulk of the donation, was the wood chips.
Okay, are we set for today? Good, let's adjourn at 7:20. Thank you, everybody.